We believe Americans should decide American elections, period. But Donald Trump will do anything to get reelected, including violating the most basic forms of democracy. It's stunning and it's dangerous because it directly threatens our democracy.
No, what's at stake here is the Constitution of the United States of America. Will Congress do its job and fulfill its constitutional duty to serve as a check on the president?
This is not hyperbole. It's a fact. No president in American history has ever dared to engage in such unimaginable behavior.
At its core, in the Constitution, is the principle that no one is above the law, not even the President of the United States.
With his words and his actions, President Trump has indicted himself by obstructing justice, refusing to comply with the congressional inquiry. He's already convicted himself in full view of the world and the American people.
Our Constitution is built on the principle of separation of powers, precisely to prevent a dictator, an autocrat, from taking control of our government. This separation of powers is part of the brilliance of our Constitution, and it has served us well for centuries.
Donald Trump has violated his oath of office, betrayed this nation, and committed impeachable acts. You know, to preserve our Constitution, our democracy, our basic integrity, he should be impeached.
Well, what I'm thinking is that Donald Trump is probably the most corrupt president in the modern history of this country, and that the impeachment inquiry has got to move as quickly as possible. He is really an embarrassment to our country. And let's get moving on the impeachment inquiry.
That's not only because of what he's done. To answer whether he has committed acts of sufficient to warrant impeachment is obvious. We see it in Trump's own words. We see it in the text from State Department officials that have been made public. We see it in his pulling much of the United States government into his corrupt schemes, individuals within the government, his appointees.
We need to get back our sense of pride about the fact that all people, especially those who hold the highest elected offices, respect our democracy and don't work against it.
But we have to remember that impeachment isn't only about what the president's done. It's about the threat the president poses to the nation if allowed to remain in office.
Donald Trump has made it clear that he puts his own interests ahead of the interests of the United States of America. He clearly invited the leader of a foreign country to interfere in the 2020 election, and it appears that he was dangling money and a chance to visit Washington and get your picture taken with the president, which is a big deal for a lot of world leaders, in return for something private to Donald Trump.
One thing about this president is absolutely clear, and I don't think anyone can contradict this. He has seen no limits to his power, regardless of what the Constitution says.
We have to hold this president accountable. And he just proved a few months later that when Congress didn't hold him accountable, he was perfectly willing to break the law, to hold out the dangle of taxpayer money, all for the purposes of helping himself rather than our country.
He believes the entire United States government can be corrupted into furthering his personal political needs. He's even willing to hold Congress and congressionally appropriated aid to a foreign nation hostage to his personal political demands. He believes if he does something, it's legal, period. And perhaps most importantly, he believes there is nothing we can do about it. He believes he can and will get away with anything he does. We all laughed when he said he could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot someone and get away with it. It's no joke. He's shooting holes in the Constitution, and we cannot let him get away with it.
During these chaotic times, with America's fate uncertain, independent liberal voices have never been more vital. And no one on YouTube gets you closer to the facts, closer to the action, closer to the Democratic candidates.